So this is the 1964 Land Rover that I bought a couple of years ago. Slowly coming together now. Got the rear body on, put a new floor in that. Did that a couple of weeks ago, a couple of months back even. And basically just bitting and bobbing. And I'm going to have another push this weekend. Just started by removing the drive flange off of the front diff, which that's to change the oil seal. Once that's done, we can obviously fill the axle with oil and get the prop on. Obviously when the engine started, we need to bleed the clutch hydraulic system. But I need a reservoir for the oil, which I've not got. Well, I've got, but needs work doing to it. So basically, things are going along, but just hit problems along the way. The engine has attempted to fire, but hasn't yet started. Number of reasons, which are just stupid, and it's problems that shouldn't be problems, which are problems, and it just takes all the time up, and then you forget where you've got to, and you end up doing something else because something else is more important and needs doing more urgently. Obviously, you need your vehicle that you run to get from A to B to have to come here and play about with this. So that's the problem there. The wiring is pretty much all there. I need to wire the two wiper motors back up, which isn't a major problem, but again, we've got problems with the fuse box, which I've just reminded myself about, that I cannot get power to this bank on the fuse box. I've got a spare fuse box, whether it's any good or not, I ain't got a clue. So I've tried cleaning it, as you can see, but cannot get power across there. I think it's a good fuse. I'm just going to check that in a minute, actually. Check it's a good fuse. We've got a bad coil. That's another reason why the engine's not starting. I need to get a new coil. I need to get a new HT lead. I've had to nick this off of another vehicle. But yeah, it's just one problem after another. We've got the brake servo on. Obviously this vehicle never had a brake servo, so this is going to really, well, it did have a brake servo, but it never had one from new. So this is going to really improve braking performance. The tub, this all wants stripping back. There's filler beneath here where it's corroded through, with it being a military Land Rover. Again, more time just spent prattling about, cleaning it up. I've cleaned some panels up, but even they're not finished yet. Got all the wiring to do at the back. Again, time to do it. We've got all this wiring here, which was put in when the vehicle was adapted to do what it did in its working life, which was mainly for towing a caravan. That was all put in before. That's for your caravan leisure battery, and it was a bit of a homemade split charging system, but then all that can be ripped out, and we're just going to stick to the standard setup for now, and we'll worry about towing when we've actually got a vehicle to tow with. So another job that we've just recently completed is the handbrake mechanism. So this now, that reminds me again, we need a split pin, which I forgot all about, which this now works correctly, and the handbrake drum is solid. Take the handbrake off, and obviously it runs smoothly as it should. Got all the gear levers on now. We've got the overdrive, we've got the high-low ratio, and I need to get a gear lever for the high four-wheel drive. Another job that needs doing is all the nuts that hold the gearbox to the engine. They all need looking at and tightening up where necessary, because I know that there's some missing on the bottom. Another job that needs doing is rear prop shaft, which is a problem on its own. This is the rear prop shaft, which I cleaned up and greased, thinking that was all it needed, which was technically all it needed. The bearings are in very good condition, and they'll see many miles to come. However, turn it over, and this side has obviously been sat in a puddle and has corroded along there, so it's fit only for the bin. So I've got another prop shaft somewhere for a 109, and I can't for the life of me find where I've put it, so it's looking like I'm going to have to buy either a new one or a replacement one. New one's obviously for the best, because it'll last a lot longer maintained correctly. The front one, I just pulled it out earlier. The bearings aren't so good, but I reckon with a bit of grease to take up any free play that's in there, and I should get another 10,000 miles or so out of it. Again, the drive flanges are in much better nick on this one, and hopefully this one will go on tomorrow. This is a bog standard multimeter, nothing fancy here. Turn it around to 2K and you get this one come up here. If I put the fuse in question in between the two prongs, that should come to 0 if we've got a good connection. That's one side on. This is one of them jobs where you need about 5 hands. And then that is pretty much near enough 0, so there's nothing wrong with that fuse whatsoever. The water system on the engine's pretty much there now. Got the radiator obviously in place, the top hose, and there's a bottom hose down there somewhere, that they're all put in. I've bodged a hose that's going to go to the top of the heater, but I need a length of pipe to go from the top of the heater control valve, which is there, to the other side of the heater, which is the other side of the bulkhead. So that's another job. This is the part of the original pipe, so I'm going to take that as a thing, as a guide for what size I need, and I think that's about it for now. Job's moving forward. When the rear prop goes on, I'm going to get the seat box back in, get the sills on, get the floor in, and then basically it's just, and the wings probably, and then it's just going to be a whole load of cleaning, painting, and obviously when the engine's running, test drive and see what falls off, and then hopefully the MOT. Hopefully this thing will now be running for winter 2017. That's my plan. It was supposed to be running for last weekend 2017, but it's not. So that's it, that's what it is. We'll see what happens. Got a few more jobs done now. Rear prop shaft's on. I've bought a new one of them, partly because the old one was too far gone. I've had a bit of time on the electrics. I've wired the 2 wiper motors in, and they did work for a split second, but then they stopped. So I'm a bit knocked with that because they did work when I bought the vehicle. Could be an earthing problem, not thought about that. So I know I've definitely got power there now. I had trouble getting power to where they get the power from. That was down to the fuse box. We'll put a spare fuse box on now, and it seems to be working correctly. I'm just going to try and earth on the wiper motor, because that was one of the problems that we had when I bought it. But basically what you should do, split motors, so just flick the switch like that and it should wind away. So I'm just going to try a quick earth on that. Well, I've now got this one up and going, like that. I've also got the other one up and going. I've replaced the motor and put a spare one on. It's a bit slow, but here's the original one, and the new one doesn't stick out far enough to be able to get the wiper blade on, wiper arm. So it's no good. So I'm going to have to build a good one out of 2, which nothing new there. So in other words, yeah, it works, but it's no good for anything. So the next thing I want to have a look at is the convoy light. Now this here is a convoy light, but it actually works as the number plate light. Number plate goes there, and basically what you do is the outer ring, if I can set this up here. So that's obviously for normal driving, and then this will actually turn, and then it will give a smaller beam of light, yeah, for when you're driving in the darkness, yeah. Obviously this should have glass in, it's not got it, but this one here has. This is a complete one. I've bought this quite recently. It doesn't turn, obviously, because it's quite badly damaged, but it is what it is, and it's main thing, it's got the glass in it. Now for where this is going underneath, we not bothered. This is a main body which comes apart like that, and then somehow the wire fastens to it. This again is the original one off of this vehicle, which used to fit on the back. So my job is to fit one of these on this bracket under here. So this bracket here is going to have the convoy light attached to. Not quite sure where it would have been originally, but it would have been somewhere in this area. The original one off this vehicle was long gone when I bought it, so we've just sort of improvised with one there. The idea is that when you're running with no lights on in a convoy, that the car behind you will focus on the beam of light which will be shining down here to focus on it where it's going in a straight line. The car at the front of the convoy will have the front side lights on, the car at the back of the convoy will have the rear side lights on. So that is how, and then all the other cars within the convoy work off these lights below here. So with the ignition off, if I turn the switch to there, and at the back we should now have a light in there. It's not very bright because we've got a poor battery. Also, there's no glass in that one because I found the one that we'd originally planned to use, and I can't see mud being a problem from where that is, with it being in the centre of the vehicle. But it's only a gimmick at the end of the day because it's absolutely no use whatsoever on the modern roads.